Okay, here it is, 2009, and this is our first episode of the year.
Yay!
And today we are going to talk about welfare, the abuse of welfare.
And people that abuse the system in general.
So basically we're just going to kind of vent a little bit and also just try to get people to get back to work, basically. We want people to go back to work and quit complaining about, this and that, and see what we can come up with today.
Yeah. First, I know that we want to kind of talk about how the system is currently set up as far as welfare is concerned. In the state of Missouri, where we're at, that's that cool. Anyways, the way the system is currently set up with the welfare system, if you're not disabled, they require you to, and you don't have a job, you're required to job search 30 hours a week, which is feasible. I've been in that situation, and it's after a couple weeks and not getting any response, it can be very frustrating and depressing.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for it, the way that it's set up. And if you can't find a job, they will actually put you into a job opportunity. It's usually minimum wage, and it's with a volunteer agency. But it does help people to get back to being productive. So, what are your issues with the way the system is currently set up, or the people that are abusing it? How are they doing so?
A lot of people, especially with unemployment, you have to go into what we have is Career Center, and I can't say much. I've done this myself, but times is times. But you go in, you just make up any amount of hours that you've done searching and how many places that you've been to, and usually the system doesn't really look at how many that you've actually gone. They don't record or talk to you about it. They just, you just tell them whatever, and then, you're getting your check. And as far as, things like food stamps, the TANF thing, HUD, Section 8, there's a lot of people, and I know a couple that, they're diagnosed as bipolar, which in some cases, I can understand that some have it severe to where they really can't work, and then there's others that, if they got it, they're getting their disability for it. Well, how is it that they're still able to pop off kids? How they're still able to go to the club and get drunk and go to...
Yeah, which is a good point.
And then they go and buy cartons of cigarettes, packs of beer, and yet, they complain later on, well, I ain't got no money.
And there's an obvious reason for it. They're spending it how they shouldn't be spending it. With me and my experience, I'm just a big, scaredy cat whenever it comes to if I'm told that I got to do something fill out, job search records. I do it to the T because, I want to follow the rules so that way I can get myself to a better place. And that was my experience. But I do know that they don't check up on some of this stuff, and people just slack off and get away with, not following the rules and following the way that the system is set up. And I do have my problems with certain things as far as government systems, how they're set up, and they don't really actually benefit the individual. But things are getting better. But there are still people abusing the system. I know that you wanted to talk about the baby machine.
Baby machines. If you don't know what a baby baby machine. Baby machine is basically what a lot of guys are doing, and at the same time, a lot of girls have started doing, or at least nowadays, is that, you know, most people want 1 or 2 kids. Well, they end up having 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kids. There's a family in Arkansas that has 18.
Oh my God.
And well, I don't criticize them simply because they actually take care of their kids. You know, I've seen the Dateline special with them, and they take care of the kids. All the kids work together, and all that. They're about ready to have their 19th kid. They were on the Today Show.
But then they actually gave, like, naturally.
Yeah, they're natural. They're not.
Oh my God.
They may be. I think there's like 1 set of twins, but they've all been natural.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah. Well,
Have a
they're
farm.
old. Yeah, they pretty much do. Their oldest son just had their little baby, so now there's a grandchild. But you know, they all take care of each other, and that's cool. But you know, there's some that have, you know, like all these kids, and you know, and they're like, okay, well now there's welfare, now there's more child support, now there's disability, and you know, child care if that person's even working. And I don't, you know, it kind of robs a lot of us, I feel, simply because, you know, now, well, who's doing something to stop this person, or at least helping this person to quit getting into all this?
Yeah, because it's kind of I don't know how to put it, like a self-perpetuating system to, you know, the more that these people aren't becoming productive citizens, you know, by working, not necessarily getting a job, either maybe starting their own business or something of that sort, but, you know, becoming productive individuals that are creating their own income. You know, that are constantly having children, spending their money irresponsibly, and, you know, keeps on using the system. So it really doesn't do society good as a whole.
Yeah, because they just sit at home and they're like, oh yeah, check be here on the 1st, and
yeah,
food stamps on the 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever, and
yeah,
they got nothing to worry about, you know.
yeah. I know another thing that we were talking about earlier is the differences in the system for men and women, because there are some. You were mentioning earlier that there was differences, a lot of how it was more difficult for a man to receive any benefits or assistance on the system, even with children.
Yeah.
You want to go a little bit more into that?
Yes, actually we will in the next clip.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the differences between men and women, you know, and getting help and services, things like that. Now, the story that I was going to go into, I was dating a girl that lived in well, I guess in a sense, a women's only building. He wasn't gay or anything. He had a kid, and, you know, he dated girls. But it was, you know, talking to him, it was surprising to see him in this building. And yet, it's like, well, how did you get in here? And you only got 1 kid, you know. And, you know, he basically said, well, you know, his girlfriend, or his wife at the time, just gave up on him, got into drugs, went on with her life, and, you know, stuck in with the kid and him. And he said, you know, it was hard getting, you know, any type of help outside of, you know, food stamps, which pretty much anybody can get, and, you know, depending on how much you're making, and, you know, child support, he could pull that, but, you know, as far as getting on HUD, it was hard to get on that. Section 8 was hard for him to get on that. You know, he just had to do what he, you know, could, and, you know, there's some fairness, and then again, there's not.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, like, excuse me.